What's up, A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday as the summer continues to roll. We are in the last week, Ryan, of June. It's almost there. We're almost to July. July means training camp, which means we're getting closer and closer to football, but it's going to get slower before it gets faster, but that's okay. We're here to soak up the sun this summer. But a national voice around the NFL just put out their NFL Power Rankings post mini camps edition and has the Titans as a candidate to, quote, rocket up the power rankings this season when games start behind Cam Ward. So we're going to discuss how high can the Titans rocket up the power rankings and how do we define rocket up? I mean, where are they at? Where are they starting from? What does that mean? How far does that, how many spots do they climb? Realistically, where can the Titans be in the power rankings across the NFL space after the season's over? So, they were 32 at the end of last season with the number one overall pick. We'll find out where Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk on NBC Sports has the Titans this week right now. But Ryan Roberts of A to Z Sports Film Room is in here with me today. And we will also throw shade at the end of the show. I have phenomenal shade. Great shade. Ryan, you have maybe even spicier shade than I because it's company employee spat shade that I think should be very entertaining for the audience.
Oh yeah, very unprofessional, and we'll get there. We'll get there later today. But I'm excited for this show. Also, I'm glad that you mentioned, though, not to digress before I hit the little like and all that type of stuff, the little intro we do here, but I am glad that you mentioned what is actually defining rocket ups, because that's one thing that I didn't love from the article was that I have no idea what he means by rocket up. Like, is he talking about a couple spots, 10 spots? Like, I have no idea. But we'll get on to that, into all that today, folks. Before we do, though, make sure that you're sharing the show. If you're watching live on Facebook, you can hit that share button in the bottom right-hand corner of your feed. If you're watching us on YouTube, take that YouTube link, copy it, and send it to a friend in your life, one of your favorite group chats, one of your biggest enemies. Doesn't matter. Just make sure that any Titans fan gets that link, and make sure that they know that A to Z Sports is live and talking power rankings. Some early June power rankings from Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. You can also repost this on Twitter, X, to help spread the word. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and leave a like on the show before we get going here on a Tuesday, 100-degree Tuesday morning for me, by the way.
It's getting there here. I got my walk-in this morning before it hit 90, so that's good. But let's get going officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Ryan Roberts of A to Z Sports Film Room. We're Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Leave us a 5-star Google review, please. That goes a long way for us. We had 4 roll in over the weekend. So shout out to you guys, the new Google reviews there. We are pushing 169 Google reviews of 5 stars, which is great in like the last 3 months, 4 months, maybe. Crazy. So shout out to you guys there. Also shout out to our sponsors because they truly do make this happen and help out all of you. Wilson County Hyundai, make them part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. And our friends at Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They are online, and they're also local. They are at bartondrury.com. So Steven asked a question off the top here. We'll get to power rankings here, but Steven says, Austin and Ryan, how does it feel that Gunnar Helm is the only Titans tight end to attend Tight End University this year? So that's another thing. Tight End U is a Nashville product. They're at Lipscomb Academy all week, basically, and doing some things around the city. George Kittle resides in the area in the off season, and Gunnar Helm has actually been a part of Tight End U. It feels like for a couple of years now. He talked about training in Nashville, Lipscomb, leading into the draft season and all that. But, I think there's 75. There's at least 70 tight ends at Tight End U this year. I believe Chig was there the year before. Josh Wiley has been before, I believe. But news to me that Steven says that Helm is the only Titans tight end to be at tight end U. I think it's awesome. I think tight end U is brilliant. And clearly it's working because they got a Bud Light sponsorship and they do all types of stuff. So, I don't know why more wouldn't be there, but I also don't know how that works. So, that's news to me. But
I mean, it is a really cool event, though. We actually had on A to Z Sports Philly, if there's any Eagles fans in here for some random reason, we had Dallas Goddard on, and he was talking a little bit about how he's going to be down at tight end U, because it's kind of a weird, no, weird's not the right word. They are a dysfunctional group, this tight end group in the NFL right now. I mean, let's call it what it is. I love George Kittle as a player. He's a little insane as a person, which I respect, right? Like a little bit of insanity. It's awesome. Travis Kelce's a little bit eccentric in his own way, and it's a very interesting group. I feel like they've adopted the old personalities of, you remember growing up in like the personalities that used to play fullback in the NFL, and they had a little bit of a screw loose. Well, fullback's not really a thing anymore. So the tight ends had to adopt how crazy fullbacks used to be, which was
exactly.
I need fullbacks to come back, man. I need them to come back at some point.
So we'll see how that gets going. But anyway, let's jump into the topic at hand today. King VC does give us a shout out at the top. Lock in and like the show. So shout out to King VC on that one. Appreciate you. Mike Florio has his post minicamp power rankings at Pro Football Talk, a part of the NBC Sports network. And so we've got the top 10 rankings here, Ryan, and Florio gave basically a little blurb sentence about each team that was as short as the rich get richer and a new dynasty could be emerging, or a little bit longer than that. But the Eagles, number one on Pro Football Talk's power rankings. That makes sense. The Chiefs at number 2, Bills 3, Ravens 4, Lions 5. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, buts about it. There's no problem with those 5 teams being the top 5 teams in the league on any type of power rankings at this point in the year, regardless of the order. I think it's Eagles 1 and those 4 teams next. The Commanders at 6 with Jaden Daniels going into year 2. The Rams, a playoff team a year ago, as are the Texans and the Bucks, arguably the most underrated team in the entire league. And the Broncos going in similar to the Commanders, rookie quarterback making the playoffs in year 1. Commanders did more with it, but having a chance to compete in the AFC West, which is a very complicated division as well. So, Ryan, anything stand out that's interesting or unexpected as far as the top 10 goes?
I wouldn't say unexpected. I mean, right after, I know we don't have it on the screen, but like the Packers were at number 11. I think there's a very interesting conversation of if they should have been in the top 10 comparative to maybe the Broncos or even the Buccaneers for that matter. I mean, like you can nitpick those types of things. My biggest question here, Austin, is out of the top 10, and I know we didn't really plan for this, but is there a team that you see in the top 10 that you say could be a faller? Because we're talking about obviously, rising for the Titans, potentially rocketing up, as Mike Florio said. Is there a team in that top 10 that you would say is your potential biggest faller in this year, kind of going into things? Because I actually do have one that I think could fall down the list a little bit.
Okay. Like fall as in like miss the playoffs?
Fall as in, well, I mean, just
could be
vacuum, fall down comparative to where they are now. But I'll just put it out there, I guess. I think the Detroit Lions are in a very interesting spot. Very interesting spot because yes, they have a good roster, right? They have a good roster. They have a couple of great running backs, a couple of very good wide receivers. The offensive line is good still. I mean, they've had a little bit of a flux inside with, just a couple guys and retirement and all that type of stuff. But I really do look at that team and say, I think we undersell the importance of having continuity at the coordinator spots, right? And you lost Aaron Glenn, obviously, to the New York Jets. You lost Ben Johnson to the Chicago Bears. And I'm not the biggest Jared Goff fan of all time, right? Like I think Jared Goff is he is the definition of when things are good, he's good. When things are bad, he's bad. Like he is exactly what is around him, which I know people could say a lot of quarterbacks. But my point is that he is not an elevator, right? Like he's not going to make a good wide receiver room great. He's not going to make a good offensive line great. Like he is the product of what is around him to the utmost degree. And I do think that losing a couple of those coordinators could be interesting to see just if the Lions do take a little bit of a, and I'm talking about like maybe they're number 10 team in the league compared to number 5, like that little bit of a.
They won 14 games last year, right? They're 14-3, like I believe, right? Yeah. 14-3. So sure, it makes sense if they drop off a hair, obviously. So I think that's a good one there. But if I were to talk about a top 10 team that's the biggest fall candidate, I mean, I think the chat's all over it. The Broncos being in the top 10 to begin with feels early. Somebody said inflated for the Broncos at 10. I think that makes a lot of sense because it's year 2 of a quarterback. Like, did you figure something out on tape? Every other team has had 9 months to go look at Bo Nix and what went well, what were his weak spots, and go pick it apart, including the Titans, who opened the season at Denver in week 1. And then that division is just tough because the Chargers are still good. The Raiders are flipping everything to try to get more experienced with Pete Carroll and their approach at quarterback with Geno Smith. So I think the Broncos, just the division around them is going to make it more difficult for them to push like they did last year. So I think the Broncos are probably the team on here most likely to miss the playoffs in the top 10, but I do think the Lions have the most room to fall, I believe. And that's a good point of the coordinators both being gone too. So there's a lot of change there.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I think that continuity matters a ton. And I do think that we are maybe, I'm not saying us, I'm saying like as a collective, maybe some people are undervaluing the impact that could have on a team.
For sure. And so you look at why are the Broncos at 10? Well, it's kind of weird. Like Packers versus Broncos. Packers are 11. You kind of mentioned that. The Vikings are at 12. They have a great roster, but have no idea what JJ McCarthy's going to be. The Niners are at 13, which coming off of a terrible year, the Niners, they're not, you can't just put the Niners at 10, right? The Bengals missed the playoffs. They're at 14. The Chargers are at 15. The Steelers, who are just live at even, are perfectly at 16, right? And so it's like, okay, the Broncos at 10 kind of isn't as crazy once you look at teams 11 through 16 on Pro Football Talk's power rankings. So that's, a little bit more understanding, I guess, from that vantage point. So let's get to the Titans side of this thing, because the Titans come in as the worst team last year in the league, picking number 1 overall. They come on Mike Florio's power rankings at 26th, behind the Panthers, the Colts, just ahead of the Raiders and your division foe, the Jags. So if you're the AFC South, you've got 3 teams, 24, 26, 28, and the Texans are in the top 10. So it feels good to be the Texans, but I honestly think that most people watching the show do not believe there is a big gap from top 10 to 24, 26 to 28 between the Texans and the rest of the division. So Cam Ward could be the guy they need. If so, they'll rocket up this list once games start. So Ryan, we're going to take our first question and ask if it's fair or foul to have the Titans at 26th. Fair or foul to have the Titans at 26? Because Steven says, hard to believe they rank 26th. That could be either way. Steven could think it's
I was literally going to ask Steven for a little bit of context because I saw like Jeff say like 26 is generous. I'm curious if Steven's saying that's too high or that's too low. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So fair or foul for Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio, to have the Titans 26th in his post minicamp power rankings. We'll get to that real quick, but Lipscomb University has their sports analytics program out there online for you. Chase that passion and turn it into a career, turn it into real income where you can change your life, change your happiness. Because if you can find a way that something you're super passionate about, like sports, if that could just be your day to day, if you could just wake up and do football like Ryan and I do, there's a lot of happiness there. Now, sometimes I probably take it for granted. I'm sure, Ryan, you have those moments too, right? Wake up, do football. It seems perfect, right? It's not. But you can also chase that passion and turn it into a career with Lipscomb University's sports analytics program. Lipscomb University in Nashville, but you don't have to be in Nashville to take advantage of this grad program. It is all online, and you can earn a degree and have a path to your passion as a career. So check them out online right there with Lipscomb University's sports analytics program.
No matter where you are, if you're listening to us live on YouTube, on Twitch, or on Facebook, you have the option to like the show. And if you like the show, we very much appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe on any and all platforms that you're listening to. And I look forward to continuing the show here this morning with lovely people in the chat today.
All right, fair or foul? Mike
Mhm.
Florio at Pro Football Focus has the Titans 26th out of 32 in his post minicamp power rankings. Fair or foul? I will send you, Ryan, to the chat. What are you seeing out of the gates?
We had Jay starting us off with an overly fair. We had a fair from Scott, a fair for sure from Daniel Caribbean. We have a foul from Rooney, very fair from Major Keys, completely fair from Eric Castillo. We're using a lot of different lot of different descriptor words there. Fair from Maven. We had a foul, should be lower from Alex. I'm not going to pronounce your last name, Alex, because I don't want to be disrespectful there. Fair from Ethan, fair from Eric, fair from Steven, fair from Joshua, more than fair, he says. He adds in there. IR Hoshi says it's fair. Fair, and that's being nice from Broderick. We have a foul. They should have been ranked lower from Johnny underscore FNC. The Colts ranking is generous, so Yori wants to not even talk about the Titans. Yori says that's a generous one. Fair from Darius, but he has some question marks after that, Austin, so I'm not sure he feels great about his answer for that one. Fair at this point from Tall Texan. Foul from Jeff. They should be around 30. Let the rookies produce first. Austin, great name, by the way, says definitely fair. Got a lot to prove. Surprisingly fair, says Jonathan. He's surprised that Mike Florio is fair, apparently.
Yeah.
Ashley says fair, fair, fair from Titans Kyle. Yeah, a lot of fairs. A lot of fairs. Yeah.
So let's go back to the graphic. Because 26. All right. So in order to know if it's fair or foul, you got to look at who's ahead of them, who's behind them, and where you disagree, right? So the Colts will the Daniel Jones era be a 1-year thing or a new beginning for him in the Colts? Not even like talking about Anthony Richardson, right? The Panthers, big year for Bryce Young. Yeah, no arguing that. The Raiders stuck behind 3 playoff teams, like I mentioned in the West. The Jags, can Trevor Lawrence get back to what he once looked like he was becoming? Not what he once was, but what he once looked like he was becoming, right? Which is like an interesting way to put that. Now, behind the Jags, the Dolphins are at 29. That's a team that is a lot lower than I think most expected. Then the bottom 3 teams, the Giants, the Saints, and the Browns. I think that's totally fair for the Giants, Saints, and Browns to all be the bottom 3 teams in the NFL. Now, let's go look on the other side. Ahead of the Colts, you've got the Falcons at 23, the Jets at 22, and the Patriots at 21. So I think if you're talking about the Titans, if you think it's too low, we'll talk about, how high they can rock it up to kind of go into Florio's thing here in a second. But I honestly think this is fair. Now, I'm going to answer the question fair or foul for fair to be at 26 because I believe the Titans don't yet, like the Panthers are ahead of the Titans in their restart. The Colts have do the Colts have a better roster than the Titans?
I think so. That's a fascinating one because I would say that they have a better roster top to bottom, but the Colts quarterback position, I do not feel nearly as positive about the Titans into the near end.
Because Daniel
for
Jones
the short and long term.
Daniel Jones is a laughing stock. Like he is a punching bag of a joke. He is Blake Bortles in modern era of just funny, right?
But I do like the Colts wide receiver room better. I do think I like their offensive line better. They have some pieces on defense that I do think are good. I think the Colts do have a better just overall roster, but the quarterback position is it's weighted, right? Like there has to be a weight on how much the quarterback matters. And I do feel better about Cam Ward than I do about Daniel Jones potentially being the quarterback in 2025.
For sure. Now there are a couple teams ahead of the Titans, a couple spots that, the Jets and the Patriots at 22 and 21, respectively.
Yep.
I don't know about that. The Jets both teams are starting brand new defensive-minded head coaches. Aaron Glenn's a first-year head coach. Mike Vrabel's, they spent a bunch of money, right? The Patriots are viewed as one of the biggest winners of the offseason because of all the money they spent because they had money to spend because their roster sucked. Like when your roster sucks, you don't pay anybody, which means you have to go pay people. And you overpaid, you give Milt Williams $120 million.
Right.
And Stephon Diggs, whatever the hell they gave Stephon Diggs to do pink stuff on a boat.
And I feel like every year we talk about the big spenders in free agency not really working out, right? Because like the quick
The
fix
Titans
stuff,
a year ago.
yeah, like the quick fix stuff doesn't usually work. Like it's usually blended as far as like draft is usually the most important, building the from the bottom up, right? And then supplementing losses in free agency. Like that's more like it. Typically, when you break the bank in free agency, it doesn't really work out. Like I think of like the 2017 Eagles when they won the Super Bowl that year. Their free agency that year was just like a bunch of underrated guys. It was like Chris Long on a very small contract, and like it was just it was just a bunch of guys like I think Torrey Smith, like those types of dudes, right? Like it wasn't like these big name flashy dudes. It was just these solid pickups that ended up performing better than markets basically said that they were ultimately, right? Like I think it's about finding value. So yeah, the Patriots are just a very strange situation because then also, Mike Vrabel coming in. Mike Vrabel has been good at points, not great at others, but I do think he's a solid to good coach, like somewhere in that bracket. But he's also a defensive minded guy. And, you have to worry about like how he's going to get the best out of Drake May potentially going into year 2 and like those types of things. Like it's a major, I'll tell you what though, I'm more optimistic about the Jets. I mean, the Patriots right now than I am the Jets as far as like the short to long term because
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing with the Jets right now. The Jets have the biggest question marks at the two most important spots in a team's collective roster construction: quarterback and offensive line. They still have major questions at both, and if you are not great at either, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how I could feel great about you potentially. I mean, because like if you're the 22 team, that's basically Mike Florio saying, hey, if a couple things shake out right, this could be like a wild card-ish type of team, right? Like they could get in that spot.
Yeah. You look at the Cardinals are at 20. And he says the Cardinals, there's a quiet vibe. They might be ready to contend. They'll have to prove it on the field, though. So, like, that's 20 is kind of the cutoff point of, like, are you going to compete for a playoff spot? Versus are you going to have a top 10 pick or be just outside the top 10? Like, it's kind of like where the Patriots Jets are at 21, 22. So, I answered fair for the Titans at 26 because, like, I think, you're kind of nitpicking there. I think the Titans, you can say that maybe the Dolphins deserve to be ahead of the Titans, or maybe the Titans deserve to be ahead of the Jets or the Patriots, but they kind of wash out for 26th overall. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I think it's fair as well. I actually, so at first when I saw they were 26, I thought I was going to be foul because I thought that was going to be too high. Like I thought they were more maybe like the 28, 29, like somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. You can make legitimate conversations about why Tennessee should be above a couple teams in front of them, but you can also do the same in the back, right? Like you can talk about, hey, should the Jaguars at least be maybe a spot ahead or whatever? The Dolphins, even though they are in a weird spot.
Let's spend some time on the Titans being over the Jags. Like I think, most power rankings done nationally would probably have that the opposite. I think they'd probably have the Jags at 26 and the Titans at 28, kind of like you're saying. Oh no, you froze. I thought he was just really listening. All right, so we'll see if Ryan pops back in here, though. I'm going to take a screenshot while we're at it because he's got a good thinking face going on. So I don't want to miss that opportunity right there for Ryan. So, all right, so I do think what I was kind of getting to toss to Ryan is that I think the Titans being ahead of the Jags is correct. And I think that most people will have the Jags start ahead of the Titans rather than where they currently are. So I do like the forethought that I feel like Mike Florio is working hard to try to be ahead of a couple of these things. I think why Florio has the Broncos at number 10 is because he's trying to be ahead of the Broncos uptick. I think he's got the Lions at 5 because I think most might have the Lions a little higher than that, but I think 5 is probably correct of how they're dropping a little. But I think the Jags being right there behind the Titans is appropriate to me. And same thing with the Raiders. The Panthers and Titans are a coin flip for the most part overall. So let's see if we get some comments flying in here. Yes, I'm going to absolutely use that screenshot for sure. So No doubt about that. Is Ryan? Somebody just took my graphic away. I didn't even do that. That was weird. What's going on here? I'm like all alone. Very strange. So, he's come back in. Here he comes. Ryan's popping back in. All right, we're back.
I'm here. I don't understand. I don't understand the world sometimes because my internet was still strong, but yet my whole thing just crashed. So I don't know. I don't know the world today. It's very strange.
Anyway, I kind of filibustered through some things. So,
Okay.
I was just a man alone with my thoughts when I didn't know I was going to be alone with my thoughts. So,
I'm sure they were great thoughts, at least. So, yeah.
Yes. So my where I was going before you froze, I did take a screenshot of you, by the way, froze, and I'll show you later. I think it's interesting that the Titans are above the Jags because I feel like most national outlets will have it flipped. How do you feel about the Titans being above the Jags on Florio's rankings here?
The chat's about to get mad at me, but I would probably have the Jags a little ahead of them. Maybe just like one or two spots. I probably have the Jags.
Flip them.
Yeah. I just, which is kind of weird because I'm not really very unsure about the Jaguars regime right now as far as like, I don't know if I should believe in Liam Cohen or not. I don't know if I should believe in him or laugh at him. Like, I'm not really sure which one we're working through here, but
James Gladstone, same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I do like, though, a decent amount of what they've done, right? Like, they were super aggressive to go up and give Travis Hunter. We can have the conversation of, like, did you give up too much to go get Travis Hunter? Whatever. All I know is Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter are two really cool pieces, man. Like, that's very cool pieces. Trevor Lawrence is extremely talented. I know he's been very inconsistent. Like, and I fully understand, like, if you say, I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence, I want him further down the list, I would even accept that. For anybody that has that perspective, that's totally fine. I don't know. I'm just like those pieces on top of hopefully getting the best out of Trevor Lawrence, being saved by Gladstone and Liam Cohen as his offensive play caller now, on top of still having Josh Allen Hines and Trayvon Walker and some other pieces. Like, I think that the Jaguars maybe should be a little bit higher than the Titans right now.
I think that's the default feeling, right?
Right.
And that when you were out, I was kind of saying that I feel like Florio is trying to be ahead of the Times, not laying with the default, but he's saying, I think the Titans are going to be better than the Jags. Okay. He thinks the Broncos are a top 10 team. Most people would not be putting the Broncos top 10 at this point. So I think that's where Florio is kind of sticking his neck out a couple of different spots. So 89% of the YouTube poll that I put out has fair for the Titans to be 26th overall. So let's actually get to the Rocket part of the conversation, because he says Cam Ward could be the guy they need. If so, they'll rocket up this list once games start. So Ryan, we're going to define in our own minds what the hell that means. Rocket up. Like, how far is that? How would you determine a rocket move? And realistically, how high can the Titans climb? So that's what we're going to ask you guys. How high can the Titans realistically climb this season in power rankings list? If they're starting at 26th, how high could they potentially climb? Real quick, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Later on today, Easton and I are having a doc talk conversation with Dr. Jeff Watson, who is going to join us. He's talked to us before about all types of foot injuries and ankle injuries. Now we're talking Achilles. Not just Tyrese Halliburton, but a fascinating trend of calf strain to Achilles tear and what that means for Titan center Lloyd Cushenberry, as he is going to start the season roughly 10 months after his Achilles injury for week 1. So we'll have that conversation out on AZ platforms later on today, most likely, and we'll react to some of it probably tomorrow. So we'll have that doc talk conversation with Dr. Jeff Watson later on today from the Bone and Joint Institute. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled open for that conversation across YouTube and Facebook as well. But Bone and Joint Institute, that's where you should go, boneandjointtn.org.
And as you're waiting for that next interview, make sure that you go to Google after the show, folks. 5-star Google reviews are very much appreciated on this show. As always, if you have some constructive criticism, totally fine. Just make sure that it is attached to a 5-star Google review.
All right, so how high could the Titans potentially climb? How high could they rocket up the power rankings? And that's, what does that mean? Ryan, when you saw the rocket up the power rankings wording from Florio, how did you take it?
I mean, rocket is like an extreme thing, right? Like it's not like they're gonna move up the list, right? Like move
not
up
just
could be
climb, right? Climb,
climb, move up. Like that, you could tell me like, okay, they finish as the 21st ranked team and like they moved up, right? They climbed up the list. Rocket is saying like you are going fast and aggressively, right? Like that's my biggest thing. So like when he said rocket, I don't know. I was thinking like in the teens at least, right? Like from 26, like you're in a spot where, you are maybe the second best team in the division. I mean, because like, again, like you had that weird grouping of the Texans are in the top 10 and then the other 3 teams are all in the 20s where you're like, oh, okay. That means that you're saying that this team is maybe the second best team in the division. And also that for me says like, are they competing for a wild card spot potentially? Like that's how he made it sound to me, like that's how I kind of took it.
I think rocket means you're trying to climb at least like a double digit spots, that's how I view rocket,
like 26 to 16 or 15 or something like that,
which
right?
is
like something
pretty moving,
yeah.
So we asked the question, how high can the Titans realistically climb in the power rankings this season? What are you seeing from the chat?
Yeah, so in similar thoughts here. So we had Toby the Titan who says rocket up to like 16 this year. So again, that's like double digits. IR Hoshi says 14. Eric Castillo says 16. Daniel Caribbean says 12. That's the highest that I have seen so far. Steven said that they can climb into the top 15 potentially. So that's what he agrees. Jonathan Hernandez 15, top 15 from Roz, 10 spots, number 16 from Maven. We have top 20 is what Jason took it as, which I think that's a fair one. That's fair. We have Darius Horton says, realistically, if Cam hits 15 to 17-ish this year, Jeff, pessimistic view, 20 without seeing the talent on the field. Fair, Jeff. Yes, we haven't seen them play. We're going to see him, though. We're going to see it in a few months, okay? Dre says 19, 15 from Joshua, 12 says Tall Texan with the Texans and predictable Texans fall. So he's predicting a Texans fall on top of that 12. 15th from Robbie. 23rd or 24th is all Yuri says. I do not think that's a rocket at all. That is like that's a very small automobile that doesn't work very well. Doubt higher than 15 from Ashley. Top 10. Whoa. Where did it just go? I just lost it. Top 10 from Sean King. Guaranteed. Cam will be rookie of the year as well as set new passing records for yards and touchdowns. So top 10 team this year.
What passing records? Rookie passing records or franchise passing records? Or
he's throwing 60 touchdowns this year, man. He's throwing 60 tutties.
Yeah, I mean, like I think like Titans passing record would be like a 4,000-yard season and 35 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I think 34 touchdowns maybe.
I mean, nice. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be great.
I'm that's post Warren Moon. Like I'm talking Titans, not Warren Moon Oilers.
No Oilers talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Bustin' Diamond also said 12. I think that we just got into conversation back and forth. 12 from Chris. Volex says rocket to 31, so they mean the other way, I guess. They're horrible. Rookie top 10 if they win the division. So I think most people were in the like teens, right? Like I saw some like 13 to 16, like a lot of that conversation. There was a couple that even said top 10, but yeah, I mean, I think that we defined it correctly though. I mean, when you hear the word rocket, that means substantial movements.
Yeah. I define rocket up rankings is like a double-digit move. Now, that's one question. How you define that? Then what's the realistic of the highest Titans could climb? Like I do think, and I kind of talked about this when I went through the teams 11 through 16: Packers, Vikings, Niners, Bengals, Chargers, Steelers. Tons of questions, right? Like there's so many questions about those teams. I'll continue. Teams 17 through 20: Bears, Seahawks, Cowboys, Cardinals. A lot of questions about those teams too, and a lot of NFC teams in there. And then you've got Patriots, Jets, Falcons, Colts, Panthers, Titans. So, I mean, the Niners at 13 and the Packers at 11 are probably in the chart. Also the Chargers. So there's like 3 teams outside the top 10 that I'm like, know what I'm expecting from them.
Right.
That I like know are going to be legitimately tough, contending in the hunt. Because I saw somebody else saying, being in the hunt in the hunt graphic in December, like post Thanksgiving in the hunt graphic on having your logo on that. That's very important for sure. But I definitely think that the highest the Titans could climb, I'm going to say 14th, because 14th is the last team that's technically a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is their absolute ceiling. Mm-hmm. Absolute ceiling is to sneak into the playoffs as the 7th team in the AFC. So that's why I will say 14th is the absolute highest they can go. They have an advantageous schedule, right?
They do.
Let me keep going for a second. So last place schedule, they've got the Browns and the Saints on the schedule. They've got the Jags twice on the schedule and the Raiders once on the schedule. So I just counted, was it 6 games? 5 games. 5 games on the schedule of teams behind them in these Mike Florio power rankings. Then they've got, 2 versus the Colts on there too. So there's some opportunity. I'll just pull up the schedule to kind of go through that. There's absolutely opportunity here for them to win some games. Now, there's tough games too, right? Because the last place Niners are going to be better. The Chiefs are interesting. The Seahawks are kind of, who knows, right? The starting with the Broncos Rams is a tough way to get out of the gates, but they've got opportunity to win some games. So I think absolute highest is 14th on these power rankings they could get.
So let me ask you one follow-up before I give my context. So your ceiling is 14th in the league. What's the floor? Like, is 26 the floor? Like, do you feel just very solid that that's still going to be the floor?
No, they could definitely drop. Yeah. So I think the Dolphins, so the teams that are behind them that could jump, right? Raiders, Jags, Dolphins, Giants, Saints, Browns. I don't think they're going to be, I'll say 29th. I think Giants, Saints, Browns are pretty solidly sucky.
Sure. So 14th, between 14 and 29.
14 and 29. That's
That's a wide range, man. That's a wide range. Right? It's 15 spots, man.
Absolute highest. Absolute highest. Now, where is the realistic range? Like, where's the I don't know what the heat map, is going to be hottest, probably 21 to 27.
That's fair.
But I think 14 to 29 is that overall, like, top to bottom.
Which is going to be interesting for fans, because I feel like for the most part, I think the fan base is very optimistic right now because of Cam, because of the offensive line changes. Like, there's a lot of optimism there, but man, there is a wide range of outcomes. Like, isn't there? Like, I think Cam Ward is going to be good, but what if he's not? Like, what if he's just not? I mean, we don't 100% know this right now. It's going to be interesting. For my answer, though, I would say 17. 17 is the number that I just kind of keep looking at as I'm looking through these power rankings. Because, like, a couple spots ahead of them, look, the Cincinnati Bengals at 14 had a great offense last year and a horrible defense. Mm-hmm. It's possible that defense is also horrible again this year. But it's also possible that it's not the worst defense in the NFL, right? Where it's good enough. And because they went, what did they go? Like 9-8 last year, right? Or something like that. Like, they were right on the cusp. 8-9. Yeah, something like that. So I do think that there is a reality where they're just a pinch better defensively and they win 9 or 10 games comparatively, and maybe they sneak into the playoffs. Like, it's possible for the Bengals. The Chargers made the playoffs last year, and I think the Chargers are still an ascending team. Like, I still think they're getting better under Coach Harbaugh in year 2. So I'm comfortable with them as far as, like, in their placement. The Steelers, we talked about it. The Steelers have been really bad in the playoffs, but what do they always do, Austin? They always win 10
Make
games
it.
and make the playoffs. Like that's just
Yeah.
what they do, right? So they are a very consistent team under Mike Tomlin. I do not think the ceiling is there anymore for him, but they have been a consistently just solid to good team
Mhm.
historically under Coach Tomlin over the last few years. Number 17 is where I start looking. I say that is where it's complete wild card starting, right? You're talking about the Chicago Bears. You're talking about the Seattle Seahawks. You're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Like those teams could be okay or they could be bad. Like they're also a little bit volatile. So I
Cardinals.
think yes, Cardinals too. After them, the Patriots. I mean, after that, it's just like who the heck knows if these
Yeah.
teams are really going to be good or not. So I think if the Titans do make a nice step, I think 17 is a really good number. That means that you showed massive improvement, and then year 2 under Cam Ward, now you're talking about like, hey, let's go make some noise now, man. Like let's make some huge noise in 2026.
I feel like if you were putting teams 21 through 29, which are the Patriots, Jets, Falcons, Colts, Panthers, Titans, Raiders, Jags, Dolphins. If you have all 9 of those teams like cards on a table and you're trying to order them in what you think, you could like sneeze and then like hit and knock them everywhere and be like, all right, that's fine. Like, and it's however they fell, like after that commotion, you're like, all right, I'm fine. That works. Like, they're so interchangeable. Like, those 9 teams are the same. So I don't know. It feels like the parity in the league in the middle of it is pretty high right now.
Yeah, and that's how they want it, right? Like that's why free agency and the cap and all that type of stuff is the way it is. Like this is what they want. They want competitive football games for the most part, but yeah, like these tiers are. I mean, because like again, I think 17 is a new tier because those are like the pure wild card teams. But it's like, where does that tier end? Like to your point, it's like 17 through what, like 26? Like you can make arguments there.
I mean,
at least. Well, maybe not 26.
Dolphins
24.
though. Like, what if Tua could stay healthy, and so can Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Jonnu Smith, and all of a sudden they're putting up a bunch of points.
They literally made the playoffs, what, 2 years ago? Like, right? Like, they made, and then they weren't like,
they were like, they lost to the Titans on Monday Night Football and lost the division, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They had to go to Buffalo instead of Buffalo come to them.
And then last year the Dolphins were also like 8-9, right? But like they had so many injuries, I think,
Tua
right?
got like concussed again early, and
Tyreek was banged up.
Then their backup quarterback got hurt. So it's like it's so strange of how like the Dolphins could be legitimately good. Who knows?
And they're also like the Titans, where it's one team that we're talking about up the top, and then it's 3 teams in the 20s, right? Where you're just like, I don't know if these teams are good or not. Like,
the AFC East, the Bills and everybody else, the Texans aren't like. I don't think. Let's go back to the top 10 real fast. The Texans at 8. After 2 straight appearances in the final 8, they opted to make major changes in an effort to go farther, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so yes, like they are there. They've won the division because it's been fairly easy to win the division the last couple of years. They haven't really broken through, and their offensive line is atrocious. They just trade away Larry Tunsil. We forget about that. And so I think it's pretty wild. So I guess to flip it, the last thing that we'll do on this power rankings, you asked who's the biggest faller on the list. Who do you think is the biggest riser?
Oh, that's a good one. I like I actually probably would go either the Titans, or I think the Las Vegas Raiders could be substantially better than they are. Really? Not that they have a great roster, but Coach Carroll is a very good coach. They have a more competent quarterback now. They have Ashton Genty at running back. So I do think that the Raiders could be like, I mean, they're 27th, right? So like if the Raiders were number 19 on this list at the end of the season, like I wouldn't be shocked. Like if they won like 8 to 9 games, like I wouldn't be shocked at all about that. So I would say probably the Raiders. The Jaguars are an interesting one, but again, like I'm just way too in between on Liam Cohen. Like I legitimately don't know what Liam Cohen is. I don't know what he is. I don't know if I should like him or not like him. Like I have no idea. He is the ultimate wild card. So I'd probably say the Raiders out of those teams that are in the 20s. You know, one that I don't understand being in front of the Titans. I don't think I think you mentioned it, but I don't think we hit on it. Why are the Panthers ahead of the Titans? Can you explain that one to me?
I just think they're a year ahead. Like Bryce Young has more data, and that just again, I think it's by default. I think it's just one of those things. And it got better later, like last year, you know.
Yeah, I just don't know if they're like, are they a better roster than the Titans
I
though?
mean, they
Like, I
got
don't think
Tet, man.
so.
Tet McMillan's going to ball out with
Yeah,
Bryce. I
right,
don't know, right?
right. Yeah, yeah.
So
I think the Raiders would be my team though with Geno and Pete Carroll, and should be better. So yeah,
and Ashton Genty.
potential rookie of the year, Ashton Genty. I mean, that's going to be like it's going to be like a Cam Ward for Ashton Genty conversation this preseason.
I think the Raiders is interesting. 27 is pretty low, and so they could have a Titans-esque climb. They just have a really tough division to do that in.
Yeah.
My vote for biggest riser, I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Okay. So how high can the Bengals go though?
I mean, I think they can. 14? I think they can get into the. I think they could be a wild card team because the Ravens are going to win that division. But I think the Bengals are going to be a wild card team that nobody wants to mess with, and that will probably be ranked ahead in power rankings. Will be ranked ahead of like multiple division winners. I think the Bengals could get up to like 7 or 8.
That's
fair. And they're at 14 right now.
I think some teams kind of had the thought about them last year where they were like, hey, I know the Bengals defense is bad, but like I would not want to get into a shootout with them in the playoffs if they snuck in. You know what I mean? Like I would not want to do that.
Like the Bengals played some epic games and they lost those.
Yeah. Poor Joe Burrow, man. He was throwing for like 4 bills and losing.
I mean,
like,
Joe Burrow got assaulted in the face on a 2-point conversion against the Ravens, and they should have won that game. Like that, it's pretty obvious. So I think, and Scott says he thinks the Bengals score in the North. I don't think anybody's touching the Ravens to win the North. I think the Bengals could split with the Ravens.
It's very possible. Yeah. I mean,
they should have last year.
anytime you have a great quarterback, man, you have a chance in those games. Like it happens, right? Last year it was not the Bengals' way because their defense was horrible, but new defensive coordinator. I know the Trey Hendrickson stuff, and we'll see what happens with all that. Junk,
obviously, if they're going to do this, then the Trey Hendrickson stuff irons itself out. Then they get Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart also irons itself out. Like so. That all that stuff has to happen for that to play in for me, which I think it likely will. Like I think a lot of this dust up with those 2 edge rushers in Cincy are all just kind of settle in, and we're gonna forget about it by the time October's here.
What a mess! What a mess! Could you imagine if we were a Bengals show, man? Like that would be a lot of headache conversations about.
Oh, John Sheeran's been going through it. Yeah, John Sheeran's been going through it in Cincy for us for A to Z. So, all right, let's go ahead and throw some shade to wrap up this Tuesday show. I've got great shade. Ryan has phenomenal shade, probably better than mine. So, time to throw some shade. If you have shade to throw, hit it in the chat. We'll get to it here shortly. Throwing shade time. Shout out Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Painbone does a great job with their dealership to make it feel comfortable for you. Save some money in Lebanon. wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Throwing shade time. Let's see. We'll see if some shade comes in. I see a lot of people throwing shade at what's going on with the Middle East and bombs and peace agreements, which is there's a lot of shade to be had there. So I will start with my shade and let some more roll in here. So Ryan, Amazon, we got an infant about to be 4 months old. A lot of Amazon purchases, right? A lot of quick grocery trips, whatever it may be. So I had to get wipes and gauze pads, Amazon, and luckily we had free same-day delivery. It wasn't an emergency by any means, but got that delivered yesterday, and I'm going to unpack it and put it in the nursery area. And the packaging reeks of weed. Reeks. Awful. And so I'm like, no, like absolutely not. So I go put it in the garage to like air out. And I haven't even touched it since I did that yesterday evening. And so I had to go through the Amazon support thing and get a re-delivery because I'm not putting that in my house. And it's the first time it's ever happened to me. Like I don't know how many different Amazon deliveries that I've had, or there's so many, thousands, right? But first time ever, just the packaging just reeked so strong. Awful.
I'm just curious on where it started. Was this a warehouse situation or was this a driver situation?
This had to have been an Amazon driver just like hot boxing, and it was like an SUV pulled up, and somebody hopped out and got it and dropped it off, like
Oh my
just
God.
just hot boxing their Amazon delivery vehicle.
And it's hot outside too. So I mean,
Very.
it's an extra hot box. Oh my gosh. Wow. I didn't think that was coming. I think your story probably beats mine in the end. I don't think I actually have the advantage here. That's crazy, man.
I mean, that's just
actually
like
crazy.
so unacceptable, right?
Oh, it's so unprofessional. Yeah. That's really bad. That's really bad. I mean, that guy's getting fired, right? I mean, like he's 100% getting fired after that. Like,
And that's the
he
thing, is like
should.
there's also not the easiest way to like go after and report an Amazon driver.
Right.
Uber
Right.
Eats drivers, I've been through that fair share of things. You can
Sure.
report them, right? Because they have a profile.
I was about
Amazon
to say,
drivers,
you see their
Yes.
face literally in the app. Yeah, right.
right?
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
like this was, I had to work hard to get to like a live chat box on Amazon's app to find out how I could tell somebody this thing reeked of weed.
Yeah. Well,
And so-
and I see people say, they smoke and stuff, and like I have nothing against people that
no,
smoke.
I
weed.
don't
It's
care.
just,
Like, do
it's
what
just
you-
in this situation where you're
Yeah.
delivering something to a parent for their
It doesn't
child,
even
and it
matter.
smells like weed.
I don't
like,
care who. I don't care who you're delivering it to. It should not. You should not hotbox your delivery vehicle.
100%. Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't
'cause
care who you work for.
yeah, I think it's like my point is that like you don't know the person that you're delivering it to, right?
Yeah.
So like what like it could be like so I don't know. Yeah, that's really bad. Very unprofessional. That
Vanessa
is-
says
yeah.
better than drinking.
Sure.
Why
sure.
is that the comparison? That should not be the comparison, Vanessa. It's don't.
What if you're
Just don't.
if you what if you got your you got the wipes and they smell like beer, I guess? Like would you be
Yeah,
more
I
upset in
mean,
that situation? I don't know.
So I
Yeah.
think the wipes are probably going to be okay because they're like in a plastic container inside of a plastic container that's like
Yeah,
individual
better
package.
out.
Like the gauze
Mhm.
pads, no, it's like all absorbed. Like there's no way that's going to work.
You see Billy Jones's comment in the chat. You guys are wild, man.
No, you didn't. No, you did not, Billy. All right, what is your shade there, Ryan?
Oh, okay. So I need to set the stage here. I will not hold this story too long. But so yesterday at A to Z Sports, we were doing a team meeting, right? A group meeting, and the group meeting served as it's kind of like a workshop of sorts, right? Like we're working
Summer
through some
workouts.
skills.
We-
Yeah,
we've coined them
that's it,
summer
man.
workouts.
Love it. Yeah. Summer workouts. So we're refining our skills as content creators in this meeting. And we're talking about time management. And I came off of mute to give my perspective on time management, how I manage my mornings and all that type of stuff. And I'm thinking like, oh, wow, this is going really well. I see people reacting very well. And I opened up the chat afterwards, Austin, and it was our good friend Easton Freeze who said, when did Ryan turn into a Midwestern cop? And everyone everyone was just laughing. And I'm like, man, now I'm going to go shave it. I didn't because I don't fall to peer pressure. But for a second, I was like, oh, man, do I need to go shave this thing? Or, yeah. And, it was a good sport. I texted Easton kind of busting on him. And funniest, I'm not going to divulge too much, but Easton texted me after I said LMAO, good morning, officer. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, dude, I can't deal with you right now. Like, I cannot deal with you right now. So yes, got quite embarrassed after the fact. And it made me second guess if I should keep the mustache or not. But I am keeping it. But I am
yeah,
keeping it.
but you second guessed and you thought, and you second thought, and you kept it.
I can't. Well, so it's a tough battle right now because he made me question if it looks good. But then on the other side, if I go and shave it, Easton won, right? Like he won this
Yes,
battle.
yeah,
He won
yeah.
this mental battle, and
Yeah.
I'm not letting Easton Freeze beat me in this mental battle. It's not happening. So I might keep this thing forever now. Like you might never
Yeah.
see me without a mustache. We'll see.
Like, you look into your mirror, it's 2028. You're like, I can't let Easton win. I've got to keep it going.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that's
Well, it was the
hilarious.
worst. I told we went swimming last night and I told my mother, my wife was like, oh, tell my mom the funny stories. So I told her the story as well. And their reaction was, wow, you do look like a Midwestern cop. And I'm like, what is this right now? This is not what I need.
It is a good comp. I gotta say, like like Cam Ward, Patrick Mahomes, Ryan, Midwestern cop. I just how it looks.
I always get some weird ones, man, because like usually I'm baby faced, right? And like I usually have like I keep my hair short and everything. Last year we were in like Connecticut or something, and I was with my wife and my 2 daughters, and I had a woman walk up to me and say, "Thank you for your service," and just walk away. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, I don't understand. Apparently, either I look like I'm in the military or I'm a Midwestern cop now. Like, those are the 2 things now.
I
Apparently,
mean, you could probably use it to your advantage. I'm sure it's in a couple different ways. Oh man! All right, but I'm reading through some shades, and there's just a lot of inappropriate comments that we probably should just not put on the screen. But yeah, so I did get my replacement order this morning, so Amazon did good by me. So got my replacement order of non weed baked wipes and gauze pads. So everything's good. Yeah, I mean it was brutal, man. It was miserable because like you open the plastic bag. And I was like, whoa. And then,
you got high.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is not coming in the house.
Oh my
All right, that's it for us on this Tuesday morning. Easton and I, Professor Nuance, Captain Nuance, what we call him. If you're Officer Ryan or Officer Roberts or whatever we come up with, he's Captain Nuance. We have a conversation, excuse me, with the Bone and Joint Institute later on today that we'll put that out there all across our platforms, talking Achilles and Lloyd Cushenberry, so that'll be good. And then we'll have plenty of content rolling throughout the week. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning, but also hit that like button, like the show, and we'll catch you guys later on. Appreciate it as always.